Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank MPOC for inviting me to share my thoughts and share my analysis on the crude palm oil futures market. And based on this analysis method called technical analysis. So before I go and explain, I'll take a look at the charts. You'll see my presentation mostly are charts, so not much words there. I can actually finish the presentation in 10 minutes. But let me just explain technical analysis, because technical analysts believe in two fundamentals. Firstly, that price discounts whatever fundamental factors or whatever news that we have received. So it's very difficult to actually depend just on the news that we receive or the fundamental reports or data that we receive to make a trading decision. So that's the first belief, that price discounts everything. The second thing that we believe is that price behavior repeats. Historical price movement can be repeated in the future because the market is, again, traded by traders, and the market is made up of many different kind of traders. There are producers, there are traders, there are importers, there are buyers, there are sellers, there are speculators like myself. I do not trade physical palm oil. I do trade the Malaysian palm oil futures market. So my analysis, my trading plan are solely based on technical analysis. Well, I do look at fundamentals to basically support whatever I've analyzed, and that would just help me to see whether my analysis on the roadmap that I have is in line with what's happening. Right? But most importantly in technical analysis or even in trading is that we actually have to see what's probably going to be ahead of us, but not looking at the data that has already been reported, because remember I told you that we believe that the price has discounted everything. So technical analysis is all about understanding and analyzing price behavior. And we believe that the market itself will determine the price. And again, the market has many different kind of players, and they will have their own information everywhere, and they will make a trading decision. And whenever a trading decision is made, it will be reflected on the price charts. So technical analysts will normally look at how the price behaves to determine whether there is a trend, or if going to more advanced, we want to know also where the trend is going to end, whether it's a bearish or bullish trend. We also analyze price behavior or price patterns to know whether the price is being uncertain or directionless, and we try to make trading plans based on the information that we have. Right, so far I've been using technical analysis, and I've been trading the palm oil futures market for the past 15 years. And a lot of people say that technical analysis is like a religion. You have to have faith in it. Right? So after being using for so many years, and I still have faith in technical analysis, and that's why I'm here to also share with you my analysis and my opinion on where the prices are heading. I can't really give a very long-term forecast because the market is now very volatile, it's a little bit chaotic, there are so many variables that are involved. So my forecast is going to be short, it's going to be up to the first quarter of next year. Right, so bear with me for a while. There'll be quite a number of charts that I will show you, and I think at the end is where I think the market is going to head, and what are the conditions that the price will move in that manner. Now, the last time that I spoke, or the last presentation that I made to do a market forecast, was in Istanbul. I had the privilege to also speak alongside with Dr. James Fry and Thomas Milke. Although he was on the screen, he was not there. But I still remember it because I was being bullish actually for the rest of the year up to December. But we were actually expecting a correction to happen. Right? This was the, if you look at the chart, this was the price forecast that I made. And I remember that the price was due for a correction because the price has already gone up nearly 2,800 ringgit by April this year. And we were expecting the price to come down. And I was expecting the price to actually just bounce off 2,450 ringgit. Okay, but we all know that the price has actually gone down way lower. It was 2002, and I still remembered Dr. James Fry was giving that kind of forecast at that point of time. Right, so I was a little bit skeptical at that point of time because the market was still bullish, the trend was still strong, but we all know that the price has only gone down temporarily below 2,450 and is now back up again. So we all know it's a bullish trend. We all seen the prices have been bullish for the past few months. The question now is whether the trend is going to remain bullish, or whether we're going to see a reversal. All right, so that was my last forecast in Istanbul in May 2016, and I was expecting the price to move towards 2,850 ringgit by the end of the year. All right. So price did not pull back to 2,450, it pulled back as low as 2,200 ringgit. So when that happens, of course, there will be some change in trading plans and also some changes in the forecast as well. And the forecast that I made was the price to climb towards 2,008 by the end of the year and possibly peak at about 3,000 ringgit by the first quarter of 2017. So far, the highest level that we have seen is 2,730 ringgit. I'm expecting price to average this year at 2,650, but the average price to date is about 2,540 ringgit. And I also say that the forecast is only valid if the price stays above 2,450. That was in May, but the price went as low as 2,200 ringgit. So are we still looking at a bullish market? Is my earlier forecast for the little bit longer term, whether the price is going to go to 2,008 or even 3,000 ringgit by the end of the first quarter next year, whether it will happen, we'll take a look at the current price movements. So you can see over here in June, the price broke below 2,450 ringgit. It went as low as 2,000 in July, 2,200 ringgit in July, and it rebounded back in August above 2,450 period, for 2,450 ringgit. So it took about a month for the price to stay below 2,450 ringgit. And being a trader, of course, we were expecting the price to be bullish, and there was always opportunity to go long when prices fall below 2,450 ringgit. Now, after August, we have seen a development of a bullish trend. A bullish trend is defined as when prices move into higher highs and higher lows. So we are seeing this situation now happening in the past few months. So technically, the market is still strongly bullish at this point of time. Those lines that you see here, that you see on the charts, they are all the moving averages. The moving averages will basically tell you the average price for the short term and for the long term. So the price is currently staying above this. And of course, for the past few weeks, it has been below the short-term 30-day average. That's because we are seeing a correction in prices. So moving forward, the price trend is still being supported. I think the market is still supporting the prices or the bullish trend that we are seeing right now. There is this support and resistance levels where normally technical analysts will want to find, because these support and resistance levels are levels that are not visible. We do not know where they are, okay, but support levels are important because these are levels where most of the buyers in the market will start to buy. Okay, resistance levels are levels where the traders are wanting to sell. We do not know where these levels are until it happens. So technical analysts always want to find these levels before it happens. So we have various and many kind of tools to determine that. But if you look at the prices for the past few months, I think that there is this resistance at 2,650 ringgit. I've got these prices actually updated up to last Friday. So we have already seen a rebound in prices in the past 2 days. And we are seeing the price struggling to break 2,650. But if it's able to break above 2,650, that means we are still seeing a very strong bullish trend. Right? So the support level is at 2,500 ringgit. And in my opinion, I think the price will not be able to go down below 2,500 this year because of this support that we are seeing at these price levels. So the trend is bullish. We are looking at the trend analysis. The price may pull back in mid-September because price falls below the short-term 30-day average. So we are looking at a correction at this point of time of a bullish trend. But if it's able to be maintained above 2,005, and which I think that is going to be the low until the end of the year, then we are really looking at a very strong bullish trend. And there's a very high chance that the price can even go to 2,008 to 3,000 if the 2,650 ringgit resistance level is broken. So chart analysis, like I said again, we always look for the historical price performance, and we try to identify the pattern so that, if this pattern occur again at this point of time, we are able to at least know what's going to happen next. So we're looking back at, I'm not going to go through a very long-term chart, but we're going to go back to about 4 years in year 2012. The chart that you see here is actually a weekly chart that is from 2012. And the only pattern that I can identify now, which is almost similar, okay, I'm going to show you after this time frame, after this slide. We have actually gone through a period of consolidation, a very not so volatile markets from year 2012 to 2015, because we still remember 2012, when the price peaked about 3,700 ringgit, and then it comes down into a correction, and those 2 years were a bearish market for palm oil. And if you draw trend lines on a chart, if you still remember, a trend is determined by higher highs and lower lows, or a trend is determined by the highs and the lows, the support and resistance levels. So if you look at late last year, in the last quarter of last year, 2015, we can already see a breakout of that resistance level. So we are looking actually at a bullish trend forming. So we already have a series of from 2012 to 2015, there's a 3 years bearish correction, and now we are actually looking at a reversal in trend. Right? And if we again draw another trend, which is currently determining the bullish trend, support and resistance levels, we are having a price channel that moves between 2,004 to 3,100 ringgit. And right now the price is in the middle of this trading band. And so question is, the worst time to trade is actually when the price is in the middle of a trading band, because the price can either go up or go down. Right? So we want to know now whether the price is likely going to go at the upper band or to the lower band. So if you look at the price movements in 2015, there was a reversal sometime in August and September. The price actually rebounded, and by October 2015, October last year, it moves into a consolidation period. And then in 2016, or early 2016, the price turned bullish again. Okay, and if you have looked at the pattern in 2015, and if it really does repeat itself, then we should see a similar pattern moving forward as well. So we put out the price movements in October to December last year, and we just put it and use that area, the period of how the price behaved on that period in this current period as well, and you're probably going to see some movement like this. So this is what we're going to expect, right? We have seen the rebound in August, September last year, the price went high. Then we see a pullback. So in this period, in the next 3 months, we're probably going to see some pullback, but the pullback is going to be a little bit bullish bias because of the shorter term trend that we've looked at earlier. It is still valid, it is still quite strong, it's still being supported. So it's probably going to go up, but in a steady manner. We're going to see some volatility in the next 1 or 2 months, but if you look at the price trend itself, it should be moving slightly upwards until the end of the year. After the end of the year, and normally in the next year or the early of the year, we're probably going to see some pullback before the price starts to trend upwards again. Okay, so we are basically trying to find the roadmap of what's going to happen next, and this is the most seamless pattern that I can find in the charts. You can also go back in, for example, in year 2012, after one of the major El Nino, we can also see this, about a similar pattern that's happening as well. So we also, if you superimpose it with the current levels, we're probably going to expect that to happen. This is a cycle. I love trading palm oil futures other than the other futures market, because the palm oil market is very cyclical. And for the past 1 year, it's been a very good market for traders because we have volatility. Traders love volatility, and I'm sure some of you here do not like volatility, right? But but traders do love volatility, and it's quite cyclical. We all know that the last quarter of the year and the first quarter of the year is normally a bullish quarter for palm oil prices because of lower production. So we are already moving now into the third quarter. We are probably going to see production figures coming down, right? And we're probably that's going to help the price of palm oil. So we are already looking at the lows. If you look at those cycles, normally July, August, in the middle of the year is when the price are at its lowest level for that year. Okay, so we already seen July as the price being is the lowest level for this year, and at the remaining of the year, we can only expect price to go higher. So if we look at again this price channel that I've shown you earlier, we are now looking at a more shorter time frame. We are seeing that the price is in the middle of the trend. We are seeing some correction in the past few weeks, and what's going to happen next? Now, based on the analysis that I've just shown you, based on the cycle analysis, based on the patterns that I've shown you, there's a high chance that the price is going to test the upper trading band rather than the lower trading band. So my forecast will be very simple. In October, November, we're probably going to see prices. In fact, it actually came down a little bit on Friday. We're going to see price probably moving sideways a little bit, but on an upward bias. And by this year, I think the price can move towards 2,800 ringgit. And in January next year, we're probably going to see a pullback. And after that, we're going to see the price turning bullish again until 3,000 ringgit. Now, what I'm showing you here is actually just a very simple way of trying to make you understand how the price works. But there are actually there are more tools that I use to identify them, and most of these indicators actually conclude with one another. I do not want to show you the other charts because there'll be a lot of lines, and only a technical analyst will probably know how to understand or will understand what I'm saying. But this is the simplest way I'll try to explain and I'll try to analyze it for you. So moving forward in the next 6 months, in the next 2 quarters, I think it's going to be a bullish trend for palm oil prices. And that being said, as a trader, we always try to find opportunities to go long or to go and to buy palm oil prices. And whenever the price starts to move back into a correction, that will be an opportunity to buy. It's a very strong bullish trend, like I mentioned to you. The short-term trend is quite strong. And if you look at the longer-term chart, the bias on the upside is bigger than the downside. So price expected to trend sideways towards November. It's going to be supported above 2005, so I don't think so it can go below 2005, right? Unless, again, some factor comes in which is unexpected. But looking at the presentation that we made by Ivy from CIMB and also Thomas Milke, there's no reason why for prices to go below 2005. Towards December, price to test the resistance level at 2008. Okay, we pull back correction in January 2017, and again, it should rally to 3,000 ringgit towards 2017, March 2017. Now, can the price forecast be fundamentally supported? We are actually looking at inventory levels at the lowest levels in the past since 2011, the lowest in 5 years. Right? And if the inventory stays at this level, the price, if we just look at the price relationship against the inventory alone without other factors, the price should be trading at 3,500 ringgit and above. But that is, of course, you don't take the other factors into account. But we all know there are other factors that have been taken. You have to take the other factors into account, like the ringgit, like crude oil prices, and so on and so forth. We are probably not going to expect the price to move towards 3,500 to 4,000 ringgit at that levels anymore, although the inventory levels actually support those current prices. But again, based on technical analysis, based on the forecast, on the tools that I've used to forecast, I think 3,000 ringgit will be easily achievable. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be bullish for the next 6 months. The more aggressive or optimistic target for palm oil prices will be at 3,200 ringgit if inventory level can stay below 1.6 million tons and exports continue to rise above 1.6 million tons. Then we can have an aggressive target. Well, if there is an increase in inventory and if there's not much increase, then of course price will be able to move towards 3,000 ringgit by the end of the first quarter next year. So conservative target, which is more likely 3,000 ringgit by first quarter, if the price can stay above 2,005. So the validity here for the price to achieve or to move towards 3,000 ringgit by end of first quarter next year would be 2,500 ringgit. If it goes below 2,500 ringgit, then I will have to change the trading plan again. But if it stays above this level, which I think is most probably going to stay above this level, then we're going to see a bullish market. These are the average prices for the past few years, from 2010 to 2015. Last year, we got an average of 2,240 ringgit. It's still lower as compared to the previous years, but we are already seeing a change in trend. The red line that you see there is actually a one-year average for palm oil prices. You can see that the trend has already started to change direction at the end of 2015. All right, so we're going to see the average price, of course, for 2016 to be increasing as well. So the 2015 average was 2,240 ringgit. I'm expecting the average price for 2016 to be at 2,580 ringgit if the price is able to stay above 2,500 ringgit and then keeps on trending upwards. For 2017, if we just extrapolate the average prices, we're going to expect it to be at 2,650 ringgit. So the average price this year, I've actually adjusted the earlier when I made the earlier price average that I've suggested was at about 2,650 ringgit. That was in May. So it's now lowered down. The reason why it's being lowered down to 2,580 because of the unexpected fall to 2,200 ringgit. Right? If the price were able to stay above 2,450 ringgit, for the past few months, then 2,650 is still possible. But based on the current price movement, it's at 2,580 ringgit. So that concludes my presentation. I think I'm not need to explain this summary and conclusion. I've really summarized most of it earlier on. I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this information will help you in your trading plan. And have a good evening.